This video is intended to give you knowledge and understanding about serious health issues, how to recognize the symptoms early, take action, and protect yourself before it's too late. Too often, people ignore the warning signs, only to realize when it's too late that something was wrong. Our goal at Next Level Studios is to empower you with information that could save your life or the life of someone you love. Pay close attention because what you learn today could be the difference between early detection and a medical emergency. Let's begin. You don't wake up gasping for air. It starts long before that. You cough a little more than usual. You feel winded after a flight of stairs. You chalk it up to getting older. But slowly, day by day, your lungs are dying. This is COPD, one of the leading causes of death in the world. And the most terrifying part? Most people don't even know they have it. It steals your breath, one inhale at a time, until one day you just can't catch it. This isn't just a lung condition. This is a slow-motion suffocation. And by the time it's diagnosed, it's already done irreversible damage. It's not one illness, it's a group of lung conditions that make it harder to breathe over time. The two main types are chronic bronchitis and emphysema. In chronic bronchitis, your airways stay inflamed and filled with mucus. In emphysema, the air sacs in your lungs break down and lose their shape. Both make it harder to move air in and almost impossible to move air out. That means oxygen isn't getting where it needs to go. Your organs get less fuel. Your brain gets less clarity. First signs of COPD are easy to brush off. A persistent cough, shortness of breath, wheezing, tightness in the chest, coughing up mucus, especially in the morning. You think it's a cold. You think it's allergies. You think you're just out of shape. But what's really happening is this. Your lungs are under attack. The lining of your airways is inflamed. Your alveoli, the tiny air sacs that deliver oxygen, are breaking down. And with every day you delay, more damage is done. This is why so many people don't get diagnosed until the disease is severe. Because they adjust, they slow down, they live smaller lives. Until one day walking across the room feels like climbing a mountain. While smoking is the #1 cause, it's far from the only one. Air pollution, long-term exposure to dust, fumes, and chemicals. Secondhand smoke, vaping, genetics. Millions of people with COPD never picked up a cigarette, but they lived in environments that damaged their lungs slowly over time. Even some of the foods we eat contribute to chronic inflammation in the body, including the lungs. And once the damage is done, it's permanent. The system doesn't talk about this. It doesn't warn you. Because there's more money in oxygen tanks, inhalers, and hospital visits than in prevention. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're already struggling to breathe. Healthy lungs are elastic. They expand and contract with ease, pulling in oxygen and pushing out carbon dioxide. But with COPD, that flexibility disappears. Your airways become swollen. The walls between your air sacs collapse. Mucus builds up and blocks the flow of air. And your lungs trap carbon dioxide that your body can't get rid of. It feels like trying to breathe through a straw while your chest is being squeezed. You can't get a full breath. You can't exhale completely. Your oxygen drops. Your heart races. Your energy disappears. This isn't just discomfort. This is suffocation in slow motion. And it doesn't stop because the damage is permanent. Every breath becomes a battle, and over time, your body loses the strength to keep fighting. COPD doesn't just affect your lungs, it affects your mind, your confidence, your entire way of life. You start to fear stairs, you avoid public places, you pass on family trips and gatherings because you're afraid you won't be able to breathe. Even simple conversations become exhausting. And when the air feels tight, so does your chest and your mind. Panic attacks are common. So is depression. Because when every breath is a struggle, hope starts to fade. People don't talk about the emotional weight of this disease. The feeling of being trapped in your own body. The fear of not making it through the night. This disease isolates you physically and mentally. And most people suffer in silence. By the time you're diagnosed with COPD, your lungs may already be 50 to 70% destroyed. That's because we don't test for it early. We don't talk about environmental risks. We don't educate the public about the signs. There's no national campaign, no push for early screening, no warnings on the environments that cause it. And why? Because there's more profit in treatment than in prevention, more money in lifelong prescriptions than in education, more control when people are dependent. You're not being warned, you're being worn down until you become another patient in the system. And by then, you'll be too breathless to speak up. You catch COPD, the more power you have. A simple breathing test called spirometry can detect airway damage even before major symptoms appear. But most people never get one because they never think to ask. If you've ever smoked, if you've worked around chemicals, dust, or fumes, if you have a chronic cough or feel winded too easily, you need to get tested. And if you catch it early, there's still time to slow it down. Quit smoking, clean up your air, exercise your lungs through deep breathing, fight inflammation with your diet, cut out the processed foods, stay moving. You don't have to wait for an oxygen tank to take this seriously, because once your lungs are gone, they're not coming back. The final warning: every breath you take is life, but COPD slowly robs you of that life one inhale at a time. And the scariest part? You don't even feel it until your lungs are already damaged beyond repair. The system isn't built to protect your health. It's built to manage your decline, to offer pills and treatments after the damage is done. But you don't have to wait for a diagnosis to wake up. You don't have to wait until you can't walk across a room without gasping for air. You can act now, you can learn now, and you can help others do the same. Because the next disease we're exposing is one of the most dangerous and most misunderstood killers in the world: colon cancer. Click for the next video.